Look, this is what's so scary about this here is you see that you have a party and you have some Republicans who are willing to basically criminalize you, although really it's not criminal, we know that. Basically, they want to publicly punish you for saying something unpopular.
Yeah.
This is about punishing someone publicly for questioning the systems in place with the election. That's what this is. Make no mistake, this is a message being sent to everyone out there. And I know everyone is afraid right now. Everyone is afraid to speak on social media because you know that you get banned if you talk about the election results. If you talk about, and it's really murky. With YouTube, you can talk about individual incidents of voter fraud. You can talk about voter fraud occurring even on a significant level, but you cannot in any way imply that that might have had any impact on a national election when some states were won by 10,000 votes at all. You're not allowed to, or you face the evil big tech corporate overlords removing you. And this is what happens when you have a party, by the way. It's the same reason, it was the same basis for the riots that caused $2 billion in damages this summer. It's, guess what? A conservative speech, right? Hate speech, what they say, and then they define hate speech. Hate speech is saying there is no systemic racism. That is the same as physical violence. I know this because I've faced this. I've been banned from campuses. We've had students weep at TCU because we said that rape culture isn't a thing, saying that that is the equivalent to violence, and some people have wanted to sue me for speech. Here's the thing. The barrier, right, the standard of proof in suing someone who's a civilian, which Donald Trump is, goes far beyond, well, he actually rationally justified why rape culture isn't a culture in the United States. He actually rationally justified why hate speech isn't a real thing, or he actually, any of the changed my minds. We've had students complain. We've literally had students complain and say that I am inciting violence by showing up and having changed, I'm pro-life, change my mind. As opposed to, you know, you've been there. We've had people crying. They want to apply that standard now to be used to impeach a non-sitting president. This is not an attack on Donald Trump. Donald Trump has just been an example. He's been a symbol that they've tried to use. They want to make sure that you all know you are not free to speak. Well, sure, in this country, and we're the only country where we have the First Amendment. I know this because I come from Canada, where we have pastors who are jailed for saying that they won't marry two men in their church. They face jail. You can look at pastors like Stephen Basson and then other pastors or Christians who've owned bed and breakfasts. Of course, you know, the bakeries here in the United States. You can find situations like this here in the UK. I have friends who are comedians like Mike Ward who faced a human rights tribunal and a $50,000 fine for telling a joke. The United States is the only country left with the First Amendment where free speech is absolute, and they try to chip away at it. It starts with banning you from college campuses. And you say, well, it's a college, they can do whatever they want. Hey, freedom of speech. But when they have pressure exerted on them by student unions and by bodies that have no respect and frankly no consideration for the First Amendment, well, now it's no longer an equal playing field, just because conservatives won't use those tools against liberals since we actually believe in more speech. And then when it happens on the big tech platforms, right, where they say, well, hold on a second, you can't say biological male, you have to say she, or you're going to be banned. Or in our case, laughing at a transgender male to female, though it was still a male with a short haircut and a Letterman's jacket. He just happened to be wearing bell bottoms and high heels. And YouTube said, we're going to demonetize you for laughing at this person when he committed assault against you. Remember, he threw the hobo's lunchbox? They said, well, no, we respect free speech, but you can't laugh at a trans male to female who's committing assault, because that is also hate speech. So you have free speech, but you don't really if you want to speak freely on a college campus. You don't really if you want to speak in the digital public town square, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Google. We're going to make sure that we throttle it. And now they're saying you don't really have that speech even if you're a former president of the United States and you said something unpopular, even if you went out of your way to stipulate peacefully and patriotically. Look, let me tell you something, okay? If you are not free as a former holder of office to say the system is rigged, I believe that the system is unfair, which, by the way, Democrats did for years with Russia. Bernie Sanders did that with the primaries. If you are not free to say the system is rigged and we need to examine our elections and you need to fight like hell or you won't have a country anymore, make your voice peacefully and patriotically heard. If you are not free to speak that, you are not free to speak. And that's what this is about. And we just had, 54 people say, who gives a rat's? It's not just about the Constitution and the articles of a former sitting president, of a former president. These are charges being brought against a private citizen for speaking freely, and he included the caveat peaceably, peacefully, and patriotically. And they're saying, no, 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 no. You still can't say that. We're going to come after you. Constitution be damned.